It's... Where am I? Oh my god. It's from a secret, undisclosed location, hidden somewhere deep in the bowels of downtown St. John's, Newfoundland, comes In the Library of Graphic Literature with your host, comic spinner Wallace Ryan. How's everyone there? Stop that now. Stop. How's everyone? Had a great day today. I spent it with my grandchildren for the first time in months, and it was fabulous. So this is for them. And actually it was a nice few books out this week too. So I'm not going to waste much time, carrying on like I usually do. Blah 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 blah. I'm going to get right down to it. Oh, make sure you check out this week's Thursday Comics podcast. Check it out and subscribe to it. And also too, I'm about 30 short of 1,000 subscriptions to the show. So if you know someone, get them to subscribe. Put me over the top. But yeah, check out our podcast. That's where you get to see totally off the wall, no holds barred discussion of comics, and it's a lot of fun with my good friend, of course, Dennis Osborne. Anyway, I had a great week this week, and let's get down to it. Okay, first of all, let's start off with a little cool little book here. Of course, I love a little bit of history, a graphic novel in that case. The past few years too, I've been trying to add, besides all the other comic books, from superheroes to true crime to comic strips to whatever. I'm trying to be really bulking up the graphic novel part of the library, and including some cool books here and there. And this one really captured my attention, from Lun Zhang and Adrian Gambo and Amazian. Comes Tiananman 1989 from IDW. Of course, we all know, despite what the Chinese government says happened in Tiananmen Square on that day, the Chinese government murdered a lot of people. And so, as soon as I seen this, it's just like, oh, I gotta pick this up. This looks good. So no matter what they say, this did happen. And so let's spread the word and get people talking about it. There's issues like this should be talked about. And the art is great in it. It's one of those books I can't wait to get my chompers into. But yeah, love the layout of it. It's looking really good. So yeah, check it out. Oh, isn't that a beautiful shot there? Lady Liberty, Tiananmen Square style. So yeah, pick it up. As you can see, I'm in my house coat here tonight. I've had long, hard days on taking it easy, so this is why I'm in my relaxed gear here tonight. Okay, let's continue on. And I'm without my beret because I just had a big feed of food, and ironically enough, Chinese food, and I was, of course, started to sweat it up here because I was wearing this in the first place, and so I took off my ever-present beret, so you get to see me in all my glory, including my little bit of a ponytail back there. Okay, let's have a look at this here. Now, let's get into some stuff from Dark Horse. Of course, here's another volume of War Against Crime. Dun, 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 dun. Now, this eventually became, I think it was Vault of Horror. This went on to be. But of course, I love any true crime or crime type of things. This, of course, has work from Johnny Craig, Felstein, Ingalls, Rudy Pillay, John Alton, Fred Peters, Johnny Craig, Felstein, yeah, so Harry Harrison, George Russo's. So yeah, kind of a cool little mixture. Love the, I just love the, as I've said many a time, crime comics, especially the ones from way back when. They have this sort of neat, lurid quality to them. But anyway, yeah, this looks cool. I like the, once again, I don't care. Oh, look, I love these old-fashioned ads. But yeah, very, very cool. Oh. Actually, usually they don't have them in these, now that I think about it. Crime Patrol. But yeah, it looks very good. So, yeah, definitely worth checking out for sure. Oh, right to the end, that's the end. But yeah, so, War Against Crime. For you people who hate crime and want to have a war against it. Yeah, kind of like I say, big fan of crime comics and true crime. I was always, for years in my 20s and 30s, I was a big true crime fanatic and used to read every book I could get my greasy little paws on. Right? Now, this hefty little baby here, this is the Neil Gaiman Library, Volume 1. Doom, 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 doom. Now, a lot of these I have in their smaller original forms and all that, but when I seen this, it was just like, well, I have to get this because it's, the other ones were kind of small, and I don't know, there was just something about this that just looked so good. It was just like, now this is a really nice sort of almost omnibus collection. I love them all. And this, of course, comes Studying Emerald Murder Mysteries, How to Talk to Girls at Parties, and Forbidden Brides, with P. Craig Russell, Raphael Albuquerque, Fabio Moon, Gabriel Ba, Raphael Scafoni, and Shane Oakley. And most of these, like I say, I have read already, and of course they're all top-notch, so I got no problem recommending this at all. Beautiful artwork, of course, coming from Neil Gaiman. Wonderful stories. Oh, let's get this beautiful little outer jacket off of it, and I'll give you a close-up look of some of these beauties here. Well, especially P. Craig Russell. You gotta love his stuff. If you don't love his stuff, then I'm not a friend of yours. But yeah, just amazing stories from one of the people from the 80s British invasion, 80s and 90s British invasion of comics, and they brought us some amazing stuff. Really turned the North American comic book world on its head. Yeah, look, beautiful. I like it too because it's of course, like I say, a range of different art styles covering Maestro Gaiman's work. So I highly recommend you pick that up. It's the beauty. Whew, I'm really whipping through them here tonight. Nothing like a cup of tea. But yeah, amazing books. I think the only one I haven't read How to Talk to Girls at Parties. That's the only one I have read in this. The others I have. So that's probably what I will read the weekend. I'm going to take a bit of time off this weekend and catch up on my comic book reading. Whew, okay. As a matter of fact, you can see by the little tags here, I've already done that. Moving on, well, actually I'll get two of these in a row. From this week from Fantagraphics, we not only have one Disney book, but two Disney books. The first, of course, is the 24-Karat Moon Uncle Scrooge from the Carol Barks Library. Of course, another amazing volume from the Master of Mallards. I love as I've said many times before, I'd recently converted, well, recently in the past 10, 15 years to, well, actually even past 20 years to Duck Comics. Unfortunately, I have my friend Sam Johnson, who's a Disney and a Duck expert, and he's really shown me the way. Now, some books he doesn't get everything. Some of these he only picks out what he likes, but of course I can't help myself. Like for the Disney Masters, I'll get them all. But he's a great person to have around to give me advice. And one of these days I will have him actually on the show to talk about the Duck world. Anyway, so this is Uncle Scrooge from Carl Barks. Check this out. The stories are grand. I love the story. The stories are very inventive, great adventures, wacky comedy, just wild stories, but just all very well written. They're fun stories, bizarre locations for back then, and like I say, just darn good comics. So if any of you are not Duck fans, give it a try. I recommend for those trying out, of course, and I've said it many times before. Start out with the Life and Times of Scrooge McDuck. That's really what got me into my love affair with the Duck world. I mean, I read them as kids, and of course, I was a huge fan of Howard the Duck, and so it came naturally in a lot of ways, right? Speaking of ducks, or Disney anyway, we have here a volume from Disney Masters, just released today. And I'm glad this COVID thing is, or at least up here in Newfoundland, the lockdown has stopped, and we're getting in comics again. And not only that, but the comics are coming out again, so there are a lot of books that I've been dying to read for a while, and of course, the Disney Masters are one of them, just like the Carl Barks Library. This is the Ice Sword Saga, Book 2, Mickey Mouse, and this is by Massimo De Vita. And I like this entire run of books because they bring a lot of the European comics done for Disney to a whole generation like me of Disney comics fans. Brings a whole new side of Disney to me. And yeah, they are different from Barks and Godfredson and those people, but they're fun. They, a lot of them have very much a European flair to them. So check this one out too. Oh. Whew. So really steaming through them now. So yeah, two great Disney things there. Now, here's one I couldn't help myself. Usually I'll, pardon me for a second. Usually when I get my new comics in, my new books in, I'll usually wait until the show to crack them open, live on tape here. But this one I couldn't help myself. I had to read some of it last night just to get into it. This is one I read the first couple of pages when it came out in comic book form, and just the first couple of pages alone, this is quite a while ago, it was just like, oh my God, whoever this guy is writing this is amazing. And of course I'm talking about The Omega Man by Tom King. Tom King, as we all know now, is one of the preeminent hot new writers out there, and just a darn good writer. And this one, it starts out with basically a tape of the Omega Man, and they appear to be executing Kyle Rayner, very much like those horrific videos from Mideastern extremists there from years ago, and when and that's what caught my eye right away. It was just like, what the heck is going on? Beautiful 9-panel stories here, and whoop. And then it goes all fizzy as he appears to murder him on camera. But yeah, beautiful artwork. Uh, I love comics on the 9-panel grid, but he breaks out of it every so often, and then returns to it. So it's I'm trying not to look at it too much because I'm still in the middle of reading it. But I've loved everything I've read from Tom King to date. So I'm looking forward to finishing this off. And as a matter of fact, I plan to read this this weekend. So I'm hoping to have this all done and read. I also actually read, in terms of individual comics, I read the first 2 issues last night of Strange Adventures by Mr. King, and it's worth getting. He has a great way of reinventing a lot of the characters that he takes into his hands, and I love what he's done so far with the Omega Men, and his Adam Strange and Strange Adventures is it's really cool. So highly recommend that. Let's see. Oh yeah, and what's a week of new books without an edition of the Marvel Masterworks collection? And this one, of course, this is volume 20 of the Avengers. Dun 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 dun. I had a lot of these. I do believe this one. Yeah, this one includes the Mike Golden's annual. I think it was annual, the king size annual, with the first appearance of Rogue, which I had at the time. Absolutely amazing, and has a lot of Gene Colan, Carmine Infantino, who I prefer Carmine's 60s work, not as much his other work. Some Don Newton, and of course Gene Colan returning to the Avengers. He did a few in the 60s actually, and so this is a return to it. But I love the annual with the first appearance of Rogue in it. So yeah, definitely worth checking out. Here, let's have a look. I'll let you show it. Let's have a look at it after I pod through it a bit there. That's Alan Kuchenberg. There's, of course, that's Gene Colan. You can tell Gene a mile away, of course. Very incredible stuff. It's Kuchenberg. Oh, and this is the Rogue appearance. Absolutely amazing issue. Still to this day one of the great Marvel classics out there. And back to a bit of Gene Colan and so on. There's some Bob Hall work in here too. Don Newton. So yeah, definitely a nice little and Alan Weiss. I always liked Alan. He's one of these people you don't hear much of, but I loved his stuff too. So yeah, volume 20 of the Avengers. Avengers always was one of my favorite Marvel books from way back in back around when the Vision first joined. I mean, I read them as a kid, and I became a huge fan a few years later in the 70s, 73, 74, with especially Steve Englehart and the Celestial Madonna saga, always one of my favorites. And last but not least, and from Marvel, comes, this is a reprinting actually, but I missed out in the first one, and I had to have it when it came out, was of course the Silver Surfer Omnibus. Dun, 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 dun. I really wish I had bought it when I first seen it and all that, but finally they did re-release it, and I picked it up. I mean, I do have the 2 separate volumes, the Marvel Masterworks one, but no, I just had to have it in the one big collection like this. There's something cool about it. Amazing work, of course, by John Buscema and folks, especially the first issue with, I do believe, yep, Joe Sinnott on embellishments. I can remember reading this as a kid, and I was mostly a DC person, so how I ended up picking up the Silver Surfer as a kid is beyond me. But it opened my eyes to a whole new universe of characters and all that, because I hadn't really read the Galactus Saga, so a lot of this was brand new to me when I read it, and it was just like, wow, this is really cool. Also included in this is I think it was the last one, yeah, because most of the artwork is by Buscema, except for number 18, the last one in the series was by Kirby. And Kirby, I'm sure, was pissed off when he didn't get it right away, because it really was his character that, Kirby, most people will agree that Kirby was the sole creator of Silver Surfer, because, when he was doing the Galactus story, he basically had this man on a shiny board coming around, and Lee even says, he asked Kirby, who is this guy and all that, and Kirby, of course, with the amazing concepts, said that, someone like Galactus wouldn't go around doing all the dirty work himself. He'd have someone going ahead and scouting out the planets that he was about to dine on and stuff like that. A maitre d' of the spaceways, so to speak. Or a herald, as he is known. And a great concept right away. It was just like, yeah, that's, so, it sounds plausible. It sounds like something that would be. So that started my love affair with the Silver Surfer, and especially the origin issue here. Him as Norrinrad, and Shalabal, his loved one. Here we have the Brotherhood of the Badoon, who later became very well known for their part in the Guardians of the Galaxy stories and all that. But yeah, great ones. And then Mephisto, of course. Again, another Joe. I like Joe Sinnott's embellishment of Buscema. It just adds to it. I mean, some of the other inkers, including his brother Sal, I mean, they're sort of good enough, but I mean, like here, this is Sal inked that one, and it's not bad and all that, but still. And here's another one by Sal. Sal's was a very different inking of his brothers than Sinnott. And here we go, the heir of Frankenstein. And this one here with Dan Atkins, actually, this one was always cool. Mephisto, I always liked Mephisto. Cool character. So yeah, so Dan Atkins doing a few of these here. And then towards the end, like I say, with the last issue, oh yeah, and this was the one with Schick Stone. And it's Silver Surfer Must Kill. But like I say, once again, this one ends with the Silver Surfer alone against the Inhumans. So, and Herb Trimp actually inking. Very, I don't know how many times I've ever seen him ink Kirby, but this one was really cool. But the one thing that I would have liked to have seen, the savagely sensational new Silver Surfer that Kirby was promising us here. But of course, he left soon after to move to DC. And thus endeth another chapter of his life. But yeah, Silver Surfer, love it. So, that's about it for this week. Next week, I don't think there's a lot next week, so it's going to be a short show compared to, or one where I wax a lot more eloquent than I did in this one. And I don't think there's any big news that I can think of from this week, besides, like I say, Denny O'Neil passing away, just of course, made all of us comic book people sad. And so once again, check out Thursday Comics, because we actually talk a bit about that. And I'll see you same time, same bat channel next week. Love you all out there, and keep on reading them comics. Okay. Better take I'll boom tube my way out. Oh my God. See you later, folks. Bye. Oh,